I will take you through some of our principles at UNStudio, the way how we work and how we organize our practice, but also 3 projects that are very different from each other, but somehow capture maybe the fluidity and some values that we want to bring in the discussion afterwards. For UNStudio, design is about people. Since I joined and since, of course, the 30 years of the practice, everything at UNStudio has been about how people move, how people experience life, how people experience space, tracking flows. We want to create experiences. We are not shy to use color, to use form, to provide spaces that are engaging for everyone to have a unique experience, and an experience actually that is creating a design that creates a meaningful place, like this bridge that we designed in Rotterdam, the Erasmus Bridge, that actually afterwards became a symbol for Rotterdam. And we have here a gentleman that has also tattooed it in his back, and is a sailor, and actually someone for who this bridge in Rotterdam is a very big part of his life. It means coming home, it means a connection. And actually creating this kind of connections are very important to us because actually this is what that is what we want, to create human interaction, human connections. Design for us is also knowledge driven. What we mean with that is that we are not shy to use technology. Since the early works, UNStudio has been pioneer in using from design technologies, but also now even more using sensors and technology data as a bridge of human experience and the space. We think that technology can and will improve the way we live and can contribute to the quality of our life. Of course, all these topics about people, about technology are coming now up again in the discussion due to COVID, and issues also of inclusion that are very alive right now in the whole world. At UNStudio, we actually, since we use data in our designs, and this is a diagram actually that was done in the 90s for a project in New York, where we got the feedback that it was somehow the first time that the client was looking at their data. It is very important for us because actually this way we can see how people move in the city. This is actually a part of New York where you see time, you see program. Time and program, very important parts of actually our life, the way we schedule our day, we organize our day in the city based on a time slot, based on where we're going. And actually now, in the discussions also we had with Fermin and David, that was the point of how we were framing not the challenge that we are facing as designers. Time is changing as we are actually not using the city in the same way we used to use it, because we are not going at 9 and we're not leaving at 5. We are actually creating a very flexible program, and this can be actually the new way of how we will live and work. Program also changes because we don't have a very strict separation where we live and where we work, and actually everything gets affected by each other, and there is becoming a kind of a blur of program lines, of typologies. But this was already a phenomenon, but now it becomes stronger and even more impactful. So there are questions that arise, and of course we don't have answers. We have ideas, and we have ideas to bring to the table and discuss with all of you. How do we all think about choice? since we have this kind of flexibility of time and program, we can also have choice. We can design our day, we can organize our day the way we want, but we have also our own will. We have our own individual selection that we want to make, and that we want to make this with a certain purpose. Somehow, everyone, after staying this couple of months at home, everyone feels different. Everyone feels that their purpose is different because they want to connect with something that is more meaningful. And there is actually, I think, a very big part of the discussion, and also I think what connects us also with Frank later on is how do you create experiences for a community, but also that they're individual and they're strong in both levels. All that we are thinking in UNStudio as a team. UNStudio means United Network Studio, for those who don't know. We are actually a network, and this was somehow how Ben van Berkel and Caroline Bos envisioned the studio to be. And it's actually becoming like that. We have within our studio around 260 employees spread between Amsterdam, Frankfurt, Shanghai, and Hong Kong, and Dubai. We are also in the plans of opening an office in Melbourne for a new project there. We are spread, but we are actually very strong in keeping a connection and actually sharing our knowledge within the studio. For that, we also have a couple, apart from the architects that we have, let's say how architecture office is organized, how we design, we have a couple of other units, what we call, that are having a special focus from, of course, the urban team and the interior team, which is actually self-evident what they do. We have, in addition, a team called UNStudio Futures, which actually creates speculative design and looks at trends and how we will change in the future, how we will work in the future, how we will live in the future. And actually, you can imagine how hot their plate is now, thinking of all these implications about Corona and actually how our life will change. We are very active on publishing our articles and our media in order to spread the word and actually create a discussion around our thinking. UNStudio X is very new. It means UNStudio experience design, and actually keeps the human experience in the center, and works very closely with product design and services. And lastly, we have since 2 years a daughter company called UNSense, which has to do about technology and sensors and data. It's about how we will make smart cities. We think that the smart cities being developed now are not yet there, and we want to contribute to that discussion. And I have a project to show you that actually frames this discussion. And also kind of challenges a lot of opinions on the way, from the government to users to planners. We have a very open and lively discussion on topics of design and technology. So this is the first project I will show you. It's a project for Booking.com, their headquarters, their campus in Amsterdam, where the discussion was not about can you please design us for headquarters, is can you make a building that makes such a strong community for Booking that also attracts talent worldwide, because the talent pool is the tech developers, which is actually what is also competing with Silicon Valley and other parts of the world. The building is very close to Central Station. You can see here So it is very well embraced by the city. It is around 65,000 square meters, only the workplace part. Here is the offices, and here there is a small residential component, and in the plinth there is a lot of public program that is also a demand from the city. The principles where we organize the design is based on community, health of the employees, sustainability of the building, but also performance. And there you see choice, diversity, focus and activity. These are terms that we have been, of course, considering since a while now, but actually they come more and more through this process that we live the last few months. In the building, actually, we saw it as one hub, as one connected experience that starts from the urban level, and we create an entrance which has a small footprint, because we actually, what we do is we bring all the employees up to the second floor, which is actually this one. And there is actually a common communal floor, the community floor for all the employees, which are around 5,000 employees. You can imagine 5,000 people coming at 9, 5,000 people leaving at 5. This will change now. And then actually from there, they meet, they come in the morning, they have their coffee, they meet their group, and then they can go to their offices all the way up to the 11th floor. What was very important, and actually for us as for the design, is of course the envelope. It's a project that sits in Amsterdam, and as you probably can imagine, designing in Amsterdam is not the simplest thing that you can do, as a lot of regulations, but also in Orthodox Island, a very important development in the center of Amsterdam, but also for a very demanding client. So the building was designed inside out. This is what we say, this is what we did, because we actually took the organization, how the building had to work, and we actually designed it in a way to connect to the outside as much as possible. So this connection happens through this gesture, but also happens from the outside. Again, this is the second floor that I said, the communal. There is a connection from the outside, and inside, outside, inside, outside, you can reach the roof, where it can have a public, a common space again for employees. This promotes walking, and we really believe in active way of living, an active way of working, and actually walking meetings can really create a very big difference in the way we work and we see each other and we collaborate. Design your day was the concept we created here, actually, when we thought that how do you attract the employees, how do you make them want to come to the building and connect, is by giving them the opportunity to create their own experience and to create their own, to empower themselves, actually, to use the space the way they want, so that they can have their best performance and their best output. So we created a lot of different spaces, of course, a lot of workplace to host all these employees. And what we actually created is this somehow an X-ray of the building, where what you see, we actually started planning different activities, and we started what we say planning for choice. What we did is we started creating very different activities within the building, from restaurants to game rooms to quiet rooms, focus rooms. Actually, with a lot of interviews that we were part of, people were really asking about focus rooms, like rooms where they can do their kind of their own personal work, but also places where they can meet, they can relax, and they can connect. All these places were actually then designed by different designers. So we created the building, we created the main gesture, but then we invited different designers, 10 different designers coming in the building and actually designing, let's say, almost one of its Lego block. So this gave a very diverse way of looking at this building, giving a choice for the employees to go to very different spaces around and use them in a very different way. The designers came a lot from Amsterdam, but also from Shanghai and from other places in Europe. What was also very important was this kind of overview. In this atrium, we create this big space where actually employees can see each other, can actually have an experience of the full organization, but can also see all this diversity that is created for them in every different level. The building is right now under construction. We are on the 6th, 7th level, and the facade is now being plugged in. And it's actually very exciting to be in this process of creating a building, but also creating, being part of this collaboration that was promoted for this building. Another project comes to answer to address the topic of individualism and individual expression. A very different project in New York, where a person living with his dog, an art collector, businessman, wanted to create a space for himself to live in, but actually he wanted only art. So when we started talking about kitchens and toilets, he was like, no, that's my art. Then we, of course, you have to convince that, you have to boil an egg. But actually, that was very interesting. It was really, really interesting, the process we went through with him, because it becomes very personal, you talk about his personal experience, what he wanted in his life, his dreams. Really, his father was coming to his dreams and talking to him. Also, he used to have a family business, so he had a lot of things that he wanted to see in the design, and all of this coming together in a process that started in a very simple diagram, a diagram that creates the separation of the living spaces and the art. And then a diagram that connects the two, and a diagram that bifurcates. So then these all became the basis of the plan. As you see, the plan is really very simple, creating actually 3 zones with a central space as an exhibition space. And actually, it is a place where he can live and invite his guests and have a dinner and also dive within his books and have an experience, a full experience within his home, from work, from exhibiting, and from living, everything at the same time. The ceiling became very important in this design, as we were actually creating different zones to give a scale, a sense of scale in the space. And actually the zones were given by lines in the ceiling. And then art will flow all around. So this would be his kind of personal space. These photos were when actually he moved in 10 years ago. Workspace, and the gallery. And I actually had the privilege to visit him last May, and to see the space after 10 years. And I have to say that it's still really as pure as you see it in the photos. What changed is him. He changed, of course. 10 years are a big difference. And what he said is that when he made the space, he wanted to invite people. He was opening it up, and like kind of a gallery. And now, after a while, he becomes more internal, and he wants to actually just change the art and see it by himself, and write and read and work on his own literature. So everything changes, but the space is the same, and the space is flexible enough to accept all this transformation of one person's life, which it is very important actually yeah, to capture these individual qualities that after so many years, it still remains your own personal space. And lastly, I will show you a very different project again. I jumped to scales from building to interior to a master plan. And that in this master plan is very unique because it has a purpose, and this purpose is empowering a community of innovators. The goal of the master plan is to give an exceptional quality of life, and the quality of life for every one of us is very different, is very unique. You know, maybe for some is connecting with the families, but maybe for some others is gaining money so that they can gain other experience by traveling. From some others is connecting with nature. Very different experiences. The project is based in Brainport. It's called Brainport Smart District, which is very close to Eindhoven. This is Holland, this is Netherlands. So the same way there is airport and seaport, there is a Brainport, which is actually a center of innovation. So there are a lot of innovation companies. There is a University of Eindhoven. And also together with the city, they created this institution that promotes innovation, and they want to create this new master plan as a kind of a new way of living. On the bottom side, you see the existing community in Helmond, and then there is a circle where is the connection moment with the train station, and this here is our master plan. What we also call the smartest neighborhood in the world, because it incorporates a lot of data layers that actually aim at improving the quality of life. But just to say, it's 150 hectares and has 1,500 housing units. What is also very interesting in this master plan is that the way the living, the working, and the sharing spaces are all coming together. And so there is no kind of zoning map, but it's everything is mixed and everything is coming in layers and in horizontal and vertical together. Everything is also surrounded by landscape. This landscape, we call it productive landscape because it can have different layers of how this landscape can be used, from actually cultivating food and energy production, nature and biodiversity, but also water management. So it's an active approach to the landscape, and this is actually a very Dutch approach to landscape and to making sure that, you know, because in Netherlands, every centimeter matters because it's a small country and being self-sufficient. So the ideas of creating a productive landscape are very welcome and very kind of significant and meaningful for the people here. The goal is to create something like made in BSD, actually, what this means made in the Brainport Smart District, and it has to do mainly with also cultivating and bringing up your own food. We created these shared systems of energy, water, and food, and the point was that every resident creates has responsibilities and has shared responsibilities in creating the management of this master plan. One of the sharing systems is also the sharing mobility, which actually becomes a point of using the technology to have a car-free area, something that is managed by data in the community space, in the road, but also in the innovation district. Data and public space come together so that there is transparency and there is actually a very honest way of how this is used for improving the life. UNSense, our daughter company, is now working on 100 homes out of this master plan in creating the framework for data for that, and that is split in 3 layers: the physical layer, the data layer, and the value layer. And actually, everything has to do with the fact that you gain personal and family gain out of sharing, which is a concept that actually it is new. We all talk about it, but we don't experience it very often. And here you can see sessions where 300 neighbors, future residents were coming together, and they're having a choice to do something or not to do something, with a very simple and very analog way, a green and a red. Taking the residents, making them part of this community, and actually designing a place where we are not shy to say that we are learning by doing. The whole smart city and living, and actually these new concepts for like the Brainport smart districts are being developed now. The government is interested, the world is interested, we are interested, and then we all develop based on the European laws, how this can proceed and how this can shape our maybe give us new ways of living, more connected and more benefiting. So learning by doing, we're not shy to say that. And this is where I stop. And I thank you for having me.
So now, just before I pass the microphone over to Frank from Object Carpet, we have had a few latecomers, for want of a better word. I'm going to put into the chat section once again the 2 topics for our upcoming breakout sessions. If you could just write down in that chat area, which you can enter via the bottom of the screen, if you can enter which room you'd like to be a part of, and we'll put you into that room. So Frank, we're really looking forward to your response to Marianthi's presentation and also your insights for the next maybe 5 minutes. And then certainly if you have questions for Marianthi, I would be happy to start that discussion.
Okay, great. So we are happy to take over for Object Carpet. Marianthi, thank you very much for your exciting performance. On the attendees list, I saw 2 friends of mine. So first of all, my very, very best regards to Lithuania. Christina, very nice to meet you. And if you don't mind, I skip for 1 second to German language. Heike, ich freue mich sehr, dich hier zu treffen. Heike used to be a colleague of mine. We worked together in a weaving mill many, many years ago. She was responsible for the product design, and I was the one who has to sell the fabrics. It's only carpet, but we love it. We, here at the headquarters of Object Carpet in Stuttgart, as you can see, I'm sitting with my colleague Martin here right next to me. Martin is our marketing director and much more professional in using Zoom and all this stuff. So I asked to join him, but not only for this. My name is Frank. I'm taking care of the international sales activities within Object Carpet. As maybe not all of you know our company, do not know Object Carpet, please allow me to give you maybe 2 sentences to introduce our company briefly. Object Carpet already carries the company name. Our mission is the production and international distribution of exceptional textile floor covering for the object, or let me say, contract business. As a family-owned business, we have been committed to the Made in Germany label for almost 50 years. In addition to being a leader in design and production quality, we consistently follow the goal of sustainable, environmental friendly and resource-saving production. Just one example, again, it's only carpet, but we, for example, eliminated any latex, bitumen or PVC from our production and the entire product range. we now would like to take up the topic of individuality, which was mentioned by Marianthi before, and show you only from one part of a huge collection, but only from one part, how individual textile floor covering can be. The collection is named Forum. It was presented at the beginning of the year during IMM in Cologne. And if you don't mind, Martin, maybe you can share our screen. So it's not only a blue-gray broadloom carpet or carpet tile. The idea behind, and maybe Martin, you can add some words, is to create a totally individual, not collection, but inspiration for this product available in broadlooms, carpet tiles, and area rugs to give a kind of totally individual possibility for private living or even office areas. Martin.
Yeah, it's just a way to have a close discussion to the customers, to understand their wishes, their needs, and then try to play with their wishes on the carpet. And we try to create designs together with our customers, bring that designs to the floor to totally nice concept in the end, and a perfect interior finally.
I have a short question, Martin and Frank.
Yeah.
Can you maybe bring something to Marianthi's topic on how individuality and your concept are coming together? So we're not talking about carpets all the time, but also on individuality and how UNStudio maybe has a connection with you.
This is the idea behind, I mentioned before, it's a collection, but at least it is more an inspiration, because our big target is to get in touch with these interior designers and architects to develop their own ideas, their own visions, which we can bring to the floor. So main idea is to have a close cooperation with these designers, interior designers, architects already at the beginning of the projects to develop individual bespoke textile floor coverings as a part of modern interior design.
I think we can see two different parts of the same topic, which might be a good point to start with your breakout rooms. As we have David, can you please send the two topics to the chat room so that everybody can choose the one they want to choose, because we'll love to exchange ideas and experiences with all of you. You will be we will be glad to if you participate, so that you can turn your camera on and use also your microphone, so that we have a kind of discussion all together, and we can exchange ideas. Maybe David, can you say it with more proper words?
We can't
hear you.
As you all have seen just now, I've put into the chat room the two areas for discussion. But just before, I think there was certainly a synergy there between what both Marianthi and Frank and Martin were certainly talking about, and it's really about understanding your customers, your clients' needs, be they for a building or for a community. And I just wanted to come back to Marianthi's presentation, because I think that was really evident also in I think the third project in Brainport, where you mentioned the group with the green or the red cards. So they were also existing residents from the outer suburbs as well, weren't they?
It's a new community. Of course, there is. I mean, now everything is in the making. So you have the city, the existing city, and then you have the new path, city, town. Let's say that's the town.
And how would you, or how have you incorporated, say, because I saw on the map there were certainly outer areas which I would imagine were already existing. How will they be incorporated then into that new community?
I think there is a kind of integration of green and integration of it's more about the new community having a strong character that can actually attract everyone in, right, and make a stronger and bigger community afterwards. And the discussion is, do you have to really live in Helmond and work in Eindhoven or work in Rotterdam, or can you actually organize the way you work and live and work and, I don't know, produce at the same time in Brainport Smart District? So the discussion is if you really have to commute, or we see also a very big trend, and actually it became even stronger now with the COVID, is that people are very happy to also live away from the city if they can also work there, but also if they can have access to their interest and also to their purpose, to their what we were discussing. You know, like that your life makes a difference, and then they don't really mind if they are away from the city. And actually, this is the discussion for Brainport. How can you create a mix that works and use data in order to empower this new way of life and make it maybe an example for other cities in the world.